I was conditioned to believe that I could only thrive in chaos. So much so that like when chaos wasn't happening, I was creating the chaos only so that I could thrive. Do you get what I'm saying? But not highlighting the fact that if there's no chaos going, I'm thriving. Like that didn't feel like me thriving. It felt like the absence of success, the absence of a win. I need to create some type of catastrophic ass catastrophe for me to then overcome it, then to feel like I just created a W for myself.
This is Sad Boy Radio.
What's the word, everybody? Welcome back to Sad Boy Radio. I'm your host, Matt, and today we got a very special guest in the building. We've been doing a lot of returning guests lately, but this person right here in front of me is very special because our first interview was 2 years and 10 months ago. He's the first person that, like, when I started this, I seen him come up in the music scene or the dance scene, really. You're the person that had you're the first person that had real significance in the city that gave Sad Boy Radio a chance and came through and like said your story and even connected us with way more people along the way. So definitely, man, it's all love. Anytime you come through, man, anytime I get to see you, dog, it's a pleasure.
Thank you for having me back, man.
Of course. For the people that don't know, right, you helped start the Future Kingz. You started your own dance crew, creative group, whatever you want to call it, right? Because it was a lot of different things. Yeah. Canvas House. You do a bunch of work with Healthy Hood now, like, and that was just kind of like starting when we first talked. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself. I'm going to let you tell the people what you do because I can't even put it all in the words.
Man, my name is Chairman Allen. Yes, I identify as like one of the founding fathers of the Future Kingz type shit. But more recently, founder of Canvas House. It's a multimedia production and entertainment company. One of the 3 chair people and the director of arts and culture at Healthy Hood. And man, I wear a lot of different hats. On top of that, I make music. I'm a father. I'm a husband. A community leader in so many different lights.
And since we've last talked, there's a lot of changes that have happened in your life. You gained 2 more kids. You have a wife now. You help run Sunday sessions with the. I don't even know if you. What would you guys call the building? Because I don't know if you guys refer to it as a church. It is a church, but I don't know what you refer to the building as.
It has so many different titles. It's the space. It's HQ. It's Healthy Hood. It's Holy Ground. It's the church. It's ghetto church. It's so many things. But it's the crib. Ultimately, it's where we feel the most ourselves. You feel me? Where we feel the most protected. Where we feel the most abundant.
What was it about the space that made you feel so comfortable, that made you feel so invited to continue to help grow the space?
When we first started working within the space, it was the community. We were a big community within ourselves. Like we had a lot of people. We were growing a lot. And so to be around a space that had such alignment within their energy, their morals, their the way they carried themselves, and almost like this idea that they even further fine-tuned like the humans that we were as a community. Because wherever we fell short, you know, the Healthy Hood community, they helped elevate those moments, and wherever they fell short, I feel like we definitely came in and poured value into that. But yeah, the community made it the most comfortable. And I think as we transitioned into that space, it was a very pivotal moment for everything. They were also transitioning. I was close. I say like a year after. 7 months to a year after we closed the space in Melrose Park, which was like a bittersweet feeling because, of course, we weren't spending money on that every month anymore. But at the same time, it was like, man, all that work that we put into that space. But also it shifted this energy of, man, we get to start anew. We get to start bringing the things that, you know, we loved from that space here in this space of high energy. The space that we were at, we were in Melrose Park. And though a lot of our people lived in the city, a lot of our people came from the suburbs. It was like in this space that wasn't home to either of them, if that made sense. It was too far out the city to be the city, and it was too close to the city to be the suburbs. It was hard for people to identify with and or just reach, just access, you know? So we started predominantly working out a healthy hood, and just as we got comfortable, it was just like, yo, bro, this is the crib. It's the crib. And we started transforming the space with that. Like one of our staple pieces from the old space was the epoxy floors. That's our community members, brother DJ and sister Brenda. It's their company called BES, Best. And they're really the best at that shit, man. And it was like the create here in the middle of the floor. We now have that at Healthy Hood. That's our staple floors are there, but it's the inverse. So it's like white epoxy marble type joint. But yeah, man, the community definitely made it the comfortable part.
How do you feel like things changed once you made that move?
Man, I think things changed for a better. I think the specifications that held us back in the day, like the certain things that I heard this quote. It was like, sometimes we're too close to the problem to see it. And I feel like with us being in those spaces of transition in our own communities, it was hard for us to see what was holding us back in certain ways. And so when we joined, it was easy for us to kind of like help trim some of these blind spots. And yeah, that changed everything, bro. Like there's so much structure. The moments where I feel like I didn't feel supported, I feel supported now, man. Like the spaces where, you know, we might not have had expertise or specialty, we have now. Like we have an abundance in every single way, bro. It's so dope. It's so dope.
Because a lot changed for you, right? And that's pretty much the title, right? Life changes quick. A lot of things changed quick for you over these past 2.5 years. So when I sit back and I look at that, I'm like, damn, not only just for you, but people in general, like life waits for nobody. And that's something that I've consistently, you know, reiterated on this show, talking to people. Like when bad things happen, you want life to slow down for just a tiny second, whether that's to honor somebody who you've lost or whether that's just because you need to take that break. As creatives, you're so focused on leaving this impact. And it's like, if I don't, what's going to happen? Mm-hmm. What's going to happen to everything that I dedicated my life to? You experienced that early on with Passion Slave.
Yeah.
Right? There's just so much we talked about before that I feel like we got to recap some of it for the people who didn't see the first one. You know what I'm saying? But before we get into everything, we need to break down why you decided to adopt Chairman Allen, right? You went from Allen the Official to Chairman Allen. It was ATO at one point for short. So right. Why?
I would like to say I have a lot of mentors in my life. You know, a lot of people who mentor me, a lot of people who, you know, give me these downloads. One of those people, it's my brother, my comrade, like I said, one of my mentors, Brother Heavy Crowns, super dope ass Chicago artist as well. And he's a farmer. That's his brand. And I remember we had dinner one night, and he said, man, Allen the Official just it don't hit, bro. Like it doesn't give me the energy that you give me. And I had to sit with that shit. And I was like, damn, bro. Because it's different when, like, truth is presented to you in such a, like, respectable way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I respect you, bro. This is dope. I enjoy the music and the experiences that you put out. And the name that you currently have doesn't suit the things that you do. And so I was sitting on that for so long, for months on months, still going as Allen the Official, getting ready to drop this project as Allen the Official, things like that. And it just hit me one day. I think it was in a conversation with Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., a good friend of mine as well. And we were talking about the importance of the title, you know, Chairman. And I've had a few different amazing experiences with Chairman Fred where, you know, an individual will forget his title, really quick, and they'll be like, "Hey, yo, homie Fred," or "Hey, yo, homie Dog, bro, whatever." And you know, he'll have his moments where he gets into this space of like, I have to remind you now, and it was so dope. And this thing that I've witnessed from him, I feel like I naturally gain as one of the three chair people. It's not like I've asked you to call me chairman, but it's a form of respect that I believe those who have taken my guidance or has given me the honor to take my guidance, that they call me chairman. And I know for a little bit, and sometimes in the present as well, I deal with this like imposter syndrome. Who am I to? But then even with things like the Activation tour or Crime Drought or the Art Battle tour, all the things that we're doing, like, or the programming that we have in the high schools, like, I'm reminded constantly, like, the work that you're doing is worthy of such role, And man, as I was juggling with all these different emotions, hearing my young people call me it like clicked for me one day. I was like, man, I think that's what it is. It's Chairman Allen, and I need to start carrying myself as such. My uncle asked me one time, and it was when I dropped the last project, which, arguably is like a really good project. The Green Tape. It had weed for sale on it. Bought it in cash, and Seasick. Yeah, it was a really dope project. My uncle came up to me. He's like, man, this is a dope project, but I think it's time to start like defining your brand, what you're doing with yourself, because you can't push poison and promise to your people at the same time. I was like, damn, man, that's real. Which is, a quote I heard again in my life with the brother I'm on tour with right now, brother Day 1, not Day 2 from Philly. So it's just something that like it. I know that I need to be available for the universal signs, and I think the way I've naturally fell into this role in my life, the lives I've been able to impact, yeah, bro, I feel like that gives the energy of the work that I do.
So what did this name change signify as far as your journey of self-discovery?
That is what it signifies, is the self-discovery, is not only the discovery of myself, but my community, my culture, my passions, like the things that I really care about. I knew that I cared about people, man. You see that in just how I carried myself every day, but now I feel like I have more direction for it. I feel like it's more focused. It's more sharp, I'm able to not only like create things, but create the pathway to sustain those things now. And yeah, I think it has helped me discover myself.
So seeing you now here 2.5 years later, you're now Chairman Allen. Again, you're a husband. You're a father of an additional 2 kids. So life has changed a lot.
Yeah, life has been lifing, man.
Now, when I mentioned that 2 years and 10 months ago, that was our last interview, you said, my life was so different then. I was in a completely different place. What was it you felt was missing from Allen 2.5 years ago?
My wife, bro. I had just I want to say around that time got into a relationship with the woman I'm married to now. And when we talk about like the challenging factors of our life, I think when we think challenge, we think negativity or like chaos or trauma. But man, this woman brought such a positive level of challenge to my life. You feel me? To the point where there were certain questions that I would dwell on, bro, like what is success and all these other things before this woman came into my life and really put things into perspective. And so I want to say priority was missing. Priority was missing before or since the last time we met. I think I was prioritizing a lot of things that didn't pour back into me nor my community or the things that I cared and or was passionate about. Man, I also think man, I was missing a daughter in my life, bro. At the time, 3 years ago, me and my now stepdaughter, we were like best friends. It was just gang. She used to be like, "That's my man's, bro. That's my man. He's so cool." Today, bro, she's taught me so much. So much about patience, and I see how it rolls over into like my oldest son, my one of my biological babies. It's been so much, and we went through so much as a family this year. We lost their biological father last year, and we also lost my father-in-law, who recently transitioned. And man, I think again, just the things that I've gotten to put on my tool belt because of them is, I was definitely grateful, bro. I'm grateful.
You know, my condolences to your family.
Thank you, brother.
I've reached out to you personally outside of this. In what ways did those losses push you to become a better father and man?
I think after loss, like it's easy to think about those moments like, damn, this could be anybody. This could be any day, any time. So I started thinking about how much more intentional I need to be. On top of that, you know, when I married my wife, I'm a product of domestic violence. So the household that I came from, marriage didn't mean that this person is gonna take care of your kids type shit. And I definitely wanted to be a testament of the opposite of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to make sure that me marrying my wife also meant that I was marrying these children. The my bonus baby's biological father, his name is Brian. Me and Brian have had a few conversations on that, which, you know, beautiful conversations. Which I think also went into our relationship, how we cared for each other, me and him. But that being said, man, I think it was like a wake up. Like if the marriage itself wasn't enough for you to be like, yo, you got to take care of these babies. Like this, you got to take care of these babies. This is like, you're what they have. The whole process has been like hard as hell, a struggle. I describe it as waves. Like there's certain things that'll happen and trigger a tsunami in the crib where, you know, the energy is off because, you know, now we're feeling grief. And we just got to be prepared for those things. I think it helps you realize how to slow down. You know what I'm saying? How to not take certain things super personal. And yeah, man, it's been a lot. It's been a lot, but it's definitely made us more of a intentional lovers in the house and as a family.
You mentioned there being 2 losses in your family. And those are huge role models, right? Father figures to your bonus babies, your children, father figures to your wife. Her father transitioned. How did he impact you and help you see ways that you could grow?
Oh man, Slim Coleman. Man, he impacted me in a different type of way, bro. I would say when I first met Slim, my first impression of Slim was through the eyes of his daughter, my wife. And I had the opportunity to see the superhero. You know, I came into her life around the time he got sick. So he was just getting sick. And so the most that I can do is just ask him about all his adventures, you know, and take direction. There's one thing about my father-in-law. He will direct the fuck out of you. You know what I'm saying? Give you, this is what we need to be doing. This is what you should be doing. This needs to happen. Like, and I got to see him through the lens of his daughters, bro. This superhero. And having, it was almost like a computer at hand, bro. But a computer doesn't even do it justice because the computer's not even the primary source. Slim was a primary source. Like I know a few, some of my comrades are historians, bro, and you know, understand history a little bit, you understand how important a primary source is. Secondary sources are dope, they're good, but the primary source is like how you know it really happened. Slim was a primary source. He was at these monumental moments in history, and he was like the way he had a database to pull up was like the computer, but no computer in the world had the knowledge that Slim had. You know what I'm saying? And so to be able to pull from these, bro, it was, man, it filled different pockets. I also, became kind of like Slim's caretaker at the end. So we had a different type of relationship, other than just me being his son-in-law. I had the honor to take care of him, and that was all the way through the morning he transitioned, man. We stayed in the house till he transitioned. We were all with him throughout that whole process, man. But he changed my life, bro. I remember watching the movie Panther and was so motivated. Man, bro, like what the fuck, bro? Like this movie is our history, our people, like these niggas just like us playing basketball that wanted to change something and they could. And to be able to go from like this movie to like the direct sources that were around at that time, bro, it just, if God wasn't speaking any louder, you know what I'm saying? If the universe wasn't shoving us in the direction enough, bro, like I knew I was supposed to be there. And because of that, I know I'm supposed to be here.
So we've talked a lot about, the people that have impacted you, the stuff that's going on in your life right now. But this is Sad Boy Radio, bro. You know what we do. We get to the roots, man. We talk about the things that shaped you. And these are the people that have shaped you today. But to get here, there was a lot that happened in life, right? You mentioned that growing up, you were, I don't know if product is, I don't want to say product, right? But I'm going to use the word you used. You were a product of you were a product of growing up in a domestic violence relationship, right? Do you feel like using the arts and creativity was your way to escape from that reality?
Absolutely. I think, I still tend to go there. I grew up in a single mother household, and my mom, she was struggling in the ways that, as an individual she was, and dealing with it how as a young woman by herself, she only knew how, and that led to, some of the wrong individuals sharing space with us. And because of it, as a child, I witnessed my mom getting beat up way too much. You know what I'm saying? Like this is, as a child, hopefully, and we pray that you don't see that once in your life, but to see it so many times in your life, bro, like it tends to take a hold on you, and it took a hold on me really different. I've never struck a woman, but I know that it played a role in my life where, like, even if like I would get passionate or aggressive or I'd raise my voice, like the level of guilt that I would feel as a human led me from, acting in certain emotions. And I remember one time I had like, for transparency, I had a really bad trip. This is back in the day. And I remember like trying to walk my friends through like what I'm experiencing, and it was just all past shit, like trying to overly explain myself to them about what was going on, and I couldn't even get to the root of it. There was so much of it. And so when I describe this like product of, it's like the environment was so built up of domestic violence. You know what I'm saying? I think the way it's affected me today is, again, like I believe I'm sometimes too gentle as a man. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'm scared to like get my hands dirty in any ways, in like the physical, and not just like not with women, but like because again, obviously I'm not gonna hit a woman, but even with like my brothers or anything, like it's hard to get in those spaces and feel like I want to protect myself when I know what comes with that. It's so much violence, so much pain. Like, damn, bro, I saw the recipient receive the pain for years on years on years, for 7 years to be exact. You know? So, like, I know for me, it pours into, you know, how I care about people. Like certain things, like when I hear arguments, I get triggered in certain ways, and I kind of gotta like walk myself down sometimes. Like,
Being witness to that, your idea of what a healthy relationship looks like is non-existent. You've never been able to see what that looks like.
yeah,
And you know, you say it in your song, we got us, right? In your song, We Got Us, you say, I got real trauma we can talk about. My life been shining bright, but this my darkest hour.
the song "We Got Us" it refers to like those moments, and it closes up the album right after the song "Rehab," which, you know, I wrote after I got out of rehab a few years ago, and it just it in the song itself, it refers to a dark moment, not a specific dark moment, but like a dark moment an individual has. But I would say, like, in the transition period, like from around the last time I saw you, like right before that to now, I think that's the phase in my life that was like man, your light is super bright, but this is one of the hardest transitions in your life. I was getting out of a really bad relationship. I was debating closing my studio. I was experiencing heavy turnover with some of my people, bro. Like, you know, some people was leaving Canvas, some people were coming into Canvas, and it was just like heavy turnover. So I'm seeing new faces, seeing old faces that I didn't want to see leave. Like, it was a lot. And I was like right on the edge of something monumental happening. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm in this space where I'm like, yo, like, that was epic. It was like we just surfed the tsunami. We landed. We good. We safe. Like, that shit was crazy. Fire. And like, that shit was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that, we survived that, and holy shit, we just did that.
Did you think you were going to survive it?
I think when we're in the moment, we never think we're gonna survive it. When we're experiencing it, there's no satisfaction of like we can get through this. It's, damn, bro, how are we gonna get through this? You know, and that's we see that in a lot of our young people through depression and things like that. But what held me up was community. You know what I'm saying? What really grounded me was these faces that pushed me, that encouraged me, that made me feel more empowered as a creator, as a brother, as a father, as a husband, as a friend. Like, I needed that shit. And even further, like, our young people need that shit. And we know that because that's what we need.
You've continuously given back to your community. You started building these programs out where, would you say you had 70-something interns?
Yeah, every summer we have about like 75 to 100 interns.
You're creating opportunities for people who were like you growing up, maybe in better situations, maybe in worse situations. But you're giving these people opportunities to come learn a skill, get paid to do that shit, and continuously build from what you've given them, right? And it's not like you tell them, all right, the summer's over, you guys can leave now. Like, you welcome them back into the space,
Always,
no
the
matter.
space is always open, man. And I wanna make sure, like, I double click this. These aren't opportunities that I'm like making or like handing out personally to people. Like, we have an abundance, bro, an abundance in our communities, and we got this like mistruth that infects our young people to think that we don't. That we have a scarce amount of opportunity outside. Like, there's only a little bit of bread and only the white kids can have it. Like, you know, bro, we got so much shit out here. It's so much that it overflows. So if we can touch every fucking wall of our city, bro, people gonna see it. Then they're gonna get to take advantage of it. Then they'll have access to it. And that's where we need to get to. You know what I'm saying? Like, because these programs, we're just one of, I don't even know how many in the city that exist. Our kids just need to know more about it. They need to know that you can get paid from different internships and opportunities. One Summer Chicago. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but if you live in the city of Chicago and like the specific zip codes, then you can sign up for One Summer Chicago. Go to sign up for said organization or this organization or this organization. There's a few different ones that we partner with and things like that that you can learn the trades or the way of that specific organization.
Where do you think it is the idea that there's only a scarce amount of resources comes from?
The scarcity mindset, that's something that dates all the way back to colonialism, bro. Slavery to this is something that is, man, I say this all the time. If we know the battlefield we're on, it's easier to identify the enemy. And right now, the enemy wants us to believe that we have a scarce amount of resources. They want us to believe that it's me versus you. Even further, we see this tactic play up in politics all the time, black versus brown. Just because the Latino community gets some, the black community can't have it now. Or just because the black community got some, the Latino community don't get it now. We've seen this so often that we believe it. Because without vision, the people perish. We cannot be what we cannot see. All we're seeing is us be enemies. So all we can be is enemies. You know what I'm saying? So I think enough of the Kool-Aid is out there for us to drink. It's time for us to start creating healthy alternatives, creating communal drinking holes so that we can create healthy, what Heavy calls, because, we just did Sunday sessions. I got some notes. Groupthink. Groupthink is man, we get infected with groupthink just because the group going this way, we don't feel comfortable enough to say that our opinion is this way. You know what I'm saying? So we just be going with what the group says. But there's got to be some sort of it's not even groupthink at that point. I guess it's the collective consciousness. That's when we all locked in, bro. That's when we've made specific agreements to have the courageous conversations, to lock in, not just to agree with each other, but just to understand each other.
What was it that took you down this road of activism?
Originally when I started the Canvas space, it was all about I want to create a safe space to create and monetize your craft. Then that changed into I want to create a community space that fosters these things. And then our missions became, how do you, teach the youth how to monetize their craft. 2, unify or illuminate unity through creation, which is our terms of communication. And as we were doing all this, when we first got in contact with Healthy Hood, a lot of the morals and the fabric of everything that we were doing was already the actions of what was being taken place in the movement spaces. So I would say I was an activist before I had the language for it. It was a language or a vocabulary barrier. I didn't have access to it. But once I did, it was damn, bro, this is what I believe in. That's what I want to do.
Because your whole album revolves around this idea of these struggles that you've been through, but not only you, your people, right? And in the song Cycle, you say, you don't care about my skin. See, my people could die. Shit, I don't care about myself. I survive. Ain't no time for no feelings.
Real niggas don't cry. That's for bitch niggas.
So what was it that made you say such a powerful line that you don't even care about yourself?
This is not just in the black community, but even in I know in the Mexican culture is machismo, what is that? Machismo culture, this idea that men don't cry. The idea that don't I'm not a bitch, nigga. These are sayings that have infected our culture for our people to think that vulnerability is weakness. That's powerful as hell. I got brothers who, what I'm saying, will shed a tear and then do some crazy ass shit. And I think that we need to start, once we identify that in ourselves, we can start working on it. But when I wrote that line, I remember envisioning one of my homies, bro, and him looking in the mirror, struggling with this. He's crying. He wipes his tear off, and he's reminding himself that hey nigga, I see you crying, but you can't cry. Cause remember what we've learned from this whole process of growing up, because we're products of our environment, and our environment has told us that bitch niggas cry. What is a bitch nigga? That equals to an emotional person who doesn't, you know what I'm saying? That has no value and like, what? Fuck that. We need to cry sometimes, bro. I can't even tell you how many times, like, I feel like I need that shit. And because of how I was programmed and processed, I can't even get that shit out. And it's something that we're still we're struggling with the residue of that shit today. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, our parents was on that shit because their parents was on that shit and their parents was on that shit. It's just now, our generation is this group of fathers and mothers and caretakers that are finally just like, yo, let's pull it down to the roots. Let's get to the root causes. Let's talk about restorative justice. Let's talk about you know what I'm saying? Let's dive deep. Let's do the dirty work. Like, I'm hearing all this new shit now, bro. And it gives me so much more hope for the future, our young people, the kids of this next generation.
What was the moment that made you realize that you needed to start doing that work to break these generational curses?
I think the realization continues to happen every day. I've been hearing this word, like, I'm a generational cycle breaker so much, like, so often. Just recently, specifically. And I think about, like, the people that I've heard that from, I don't even think they realize how much effort is required to be a generational curse breaker, you know? And that's why, like, I don't even think I'm that. I think I've broken a curse, or I've gotten close to breaking specific cycles that, you know, dominate our bloodline right now. But man, it requires so much effort, bro. It requires us to go back to the things that really bother, trigger, and trauma, like, that are filled with trauma, and really start to dive into those shit. So, like, when we talk about that shit, I can't even be real until I go call my mom and talk to my mom about all the shit that we not talking about right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even talk about, like, being a cycle breaker until I go back and talk to my brother, you know what I'm saying, about the shit that we got to talk about. But it's easier to do that work with people who don't know the old you. It's easier to do that work with people who haven't experienced the hurt you, the broken you, the fragments of who you are, who you were type shit. You know what I'm saying? So I would say I have those realizations every day. And I wouldn't consider myself a generational cycle breaker yet, until we get to those spaces. I always say you can't define how great a teacher is by the lesson plans. You do that by the outcome of the students. You know what I'm saying? If I got a class full of 50 people and 3 of them are successful and, you know, 47 of them are fucking ass, I feel like I'm a pretty shitty teacher. But, you know, if 47 of them are going crazy, like, I feel like, man, there's something to say about what I'm doing.
But it's the key thing you said right there is, you know, it's easier to fix things and it's easier to build with people who haven't experienced the broken you, the hurt you. What shattered piece was it that made you realize that you needed to change?
I was so angry back in the day, bro. Even as a leader in like the early portion of my leadership, I was such an angry human. And, you know, this might have taken form from, like, all of those who had authority, who I saw in, like, authoritative spaces, kind of like, this is what leadership is to me. But man, I was such an angry human, bro. Such an angry human. And I was drinking a lot. And I just remember one of my comrades pulling me to the side, my brother Transcend. He just was so transparent with me about everything, bro. Like, about how I'm speaking. Why am I speaking this way? And it was so calm, gave me so much grace. It's my dog to this day. I can't tell you how many times I've told him.
He shoots videos, right?
Yes, bro.
Yeah.
Like what? He shoots movies. That man is amazing. Like when I tell you I respect this man so much, and I can't tell you how many times I've brought this up to him because it's one of those moments that replay in my mind. If I didn't have somebody or multiple people or just monumental moments that was like, yo, calm the fuck down. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like that. It was, of course, in a beautiful way. I don't know how it would have shifted for me. You know what I'm saying? And today, you know, I see how like a lot of my comrades look at me, or those who might take my guidance look at me, and man, they would describe me with so much love. You know what I'm saying? So much energy, and yet still passionate, and all these other elements that I didn't have to rid myself of to get rid of this angry part of me. You know what I'm saying? To get rid of this like angry human that it was. I'll also say a big part of that is like Sunday sessions healed the fuck out of so many pockets of my soul, bro. To see Sunday sessions, you know, I was a part of Sunday sessions when there was 3 people in a room. Now we got 75 to 100 people that come, and you know, this is a very divine number because that's our average for like our internships and things like that. It's like 75 to 100 every Sunday at Sunday sessions. And that's the average. Because when we be having our bussing days, bro, it'd be over 100 people in there. We be sweating in that room, like a lot of body heat and stuff. But man, Sunday sessions heal such a big portion of me. I remember my father had came to sessions, and I spoke about my father so many moments in sessions, bro.
Your dad?
My dad, bro. Shit, we might have talked about my dad a little bit on the first episode, or the first time I came down here. Like,
no, it was the first time I heard about your dad.
Jiggy?
No, it was when they live streamed your Sunday sessions.
So did you see him?
No,
Okay.
I was watching it.
So he actually came to Sunday sessions, and I got to introduce him. And this was after a conversation we had with one of my young interns as well. Shout out, brother Stucky. So crazy, bro. So my dad's on the way to my house, and I haven't spoken to this guy in years, bro. But and I had been my bad. I had been putting him off, like, yo, I don't really want to talk to you. All my siblings were like, yo, bro, just talk to him. Nah, I don't really want to talk to you. Then my brother graduated. Shout out Jiggy Bars, graduated his solar program. And my dad came out. So we saw each other, and he was like, you know, like, can we talk, man? And keep doing this thing to me, bro. Every time I see you, like, what's up? Let's talk. He obviously wanted to talk. I wasn't with that shit, and I was like, you know what? Let's go to the house. Let's have this like one-on-one conversation, and you know, hopefully we can get past some shit. Bro, on the way to the house, I had my little homie come with me. One of my youngins. I'm getting angry as fuck in the car, bro. Like everything that like all the domestic violence, all the like everything that I've experienced as his child. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm mad as fuck at this point. We get to the crib and I dump all of that shit. I'm not being nice. I'm dumping all of that shit on him, bro. And I had such an expectation for him to argue with me, bro. But he just said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bro. Like, G, it hit me so different.
Shit fucked you up, didn't it?
Bro, it fucked me up, G, because I'm so ready to argue with bro. And like, immediately I just felt all this love, bro. I'm like, man, I just want this nigga to love me, bro. This is my dad, G. Like, I want to be able to call him dad. I want to like, you know, I want to drop my heart, like my cheese. I want to drop all of that shit. I want to, what's up, dad? You know what I'm saying? And we got to this space, bro. We start laughing. He started telling me about his childhood for the first time in my grown ass life. Told me about his mom and, you know, some of his experiences with domestic violence. And that became one of the most transformative trips ever. And I just, from that day forward, I noticed a weight lift off of me. You know what I'm saying? And I still struggle with some of those spaces with my other family members, my mom, my brother. Like I want to be able to pull those things in. But again, acknowledging that I'm not at that space of a professional fucking generational cycle breaker, it's gonna come in its time. It's gonna come in its time. But that shit definitely was like, yo, fire.
So do you think that anger, you know, all this anger that you had was from resentment towards your dad?
I think it was like resentment with the expectations I had.
What expectations?
I think I expected my father to be something that he wasn't, instead of accepting something that he was.
What did you expect him to be?
I don't like that's the issue. I don't know. You know, I don't know what I expected bro to be, but I expected him to not be what he was. I was willing to create unrealistic expectations rather than accept the man for who he was. And he's a great man today. You know, we've had amazing conversations. And I'm now in this space of acceptance. And just because I'm now in this space of acceptance, I'm now available for how beautiful the human that he is. You know, I wasn't available for that. I didn't even get to see it. You know, I lost out on a lot of moments, and that could have been because of me. You know what I'm saying? But man, this he's a cool ass dude, bro. Like I be texting him, "Hey man, what you on?" He sells soap.
Sells soap.
He told me last time, he said, "Bro, I don't sell dope. I sell soap." And he's a fucking genius at that shit.
He's the soap man.
The soap man. He does that shit. That's the only soap we use. We clean our house with now, man. Is his fucking soap. I'm telling him, like, we had a conversation. This is like even more transformative. The fact that I can even like highlight this, like I was telling him I would love to invest in a soap business. Like, what would it look like for me to invest in my father? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's create a soap business. Let's build that. And the same place that you were when you were a young man, like we can give opportunity to some of these young kids. Like sales is fucking dope.
Something that I do want to highlight, right? You talk about being this broken person, being this angry person, inabilities to open yourself up due to what you saw a relationship to be growing up, right? Not that that's what you wanted to model your relationships after, but seeing this take place consistently and not knowing what a healthy love looked like. How did you see yourself carry that into different relationships?
I internalized the fuck out of that shit. I told my wife this a few different times too. Is like it's just this idea that I was conditioned to believe that I could only thrive in chaos. So much so that like when chaos wasn't happening, I was creating the chaos only so that I could thrive. Do you get what I'm saying? But not highlighting the fact that if there's no chaos going, I'm thriving. Like that didn't feel like me thriving. It felt like the absence of success, the absence of a win. I need to create some type of catastrophic ass catastrophe for me to then overcome it, then to feel like I just created a W for myself. You know what I'm saying? That shit is, I internalized that on a different level growing up. But again, now being in the space where, man, I feel like the peace is what I've been the most present for. It's so beautiful. It's the silence, the slow, the surrender, you know what I'm saying? It just feels so, man.
What did it take for you to get to that point, to appreciate the silence?
Say, man, time, tools, community, love, consistency.
I love that you mentioned time first, because we've been having this conversation for like the past 3 weeks about whether time heals wounds and shit. You know who OG Steve-O is?
Yeah.
You got OG Steve-O saying that time don't heal wounds, it just makes things more bearable. You got the mind talking about time won't heal a wound that you didn't try to fix. Like, so when it comes to healing and when it comes to being accepting of these spaces that you put yourself in, time isn't the only factor. And the fact that you mentioned all these other things, what kind of work did you have to put in to make sure that you healed properly?
Man, it's a different type of like radical ass self-discipline. Like, I had a conversation with one of my young homies the other day. They've been dealing with thoughts of suicide, bro. Like these thoughts of like I'm not valuable enough to even accomplish the easy tasks. And so I talk about like contingency plans. And like what do contingency plans look like for you? Like how do we create small challenges so that then we can win? Like let's just create small wins. put my alarm on. Fuck that. I'm gonna put 6 alarms on that say make your bed. Give myself 6 opportunities to make my bed. So I'm gonna get one of those wins today. Took a lot of self-reflection. Like a lot of moments where I was like, man, is this serving me? Is this filling me? Like I had to cut a lot of like toxin out of my life. Whether that was through the form of like extracurriculars or like relationships or friendships or activities, like things that again didn't serve me. Like, yeah. And it was along with the offload process, there was a heavy onload process, upload process. Like surrounding myself, like I took a restorative justice training with my boy Mashawn Ali. It's one of my mentors and one of my favorite people, humans, Trap House Chicago, shout out. I was just trying to like pour myself into so many different things. Boxing, been diving into that, like fitness a lot lately. Yeah, I think it was a number of things that I had to do. You know what I'm saying? But it all started with like the self-discipline. I had to like get on myself. I also went to rehab, bro. I think that was a big thing. I think when we talk about therapy or rehab, a lot of people they shy away from that, or same concept of the like that's for bitch niggas, like crying. Same thing as like therapy is grouped up in that same category.
I didn't realize that was your reality until you mentioned it right now. Or not right now, but a little earlier in the conversation. What made you decide to take that step?
Had a whole fucking manic ass episode, bro. Drove to a fucking bridge, about to throw myself off a bridge. Like, it was a moment. And again, thankfully I had community around me to, stop me from doing like unforgivable things, But yeah, it was at that moment I was like, damn, bro, I need help. Like, I need help. Cause I can't guide myself out of this, G. Like, I think when we look at like community leaders, especially from this lens of like cinema and like the World Wide Web, it like dehumanizes them on such a crazy ass level. And bro, our community leaders, they're human as hell. They deal with a lot of this shit. It's heavy. It's heavy work. It's a lot of just like energy transfer all day. And again, if I didn't have my community, man, I don't know where I would be right now. But I also say like, this is a time before Sunday sessions. This is a time before all these tools that we've been implementing now. And I feel like blessed, bro. It's been some years, you know what I'm saying? Like I could put that in my back pocket. And I just had this conversation about trauma. Like, I don't believe that we should ever let our trauma go, because though it doesn't define who we are in the now, it should help like inform how we move for certain things. You know what I'm saying? So I'm proud of it. But I say all that to say, just to go back to it, rehab helped create a structure in my life. Like, certain things that I didn't deem myself capable of accomplishing or capable of, period, like just waking up at a good hour, like I was able to accomplish in rehab. You know what I'm saying? It's very institutional. I'm not saying like, oh, go to rehab. You know what I'm saying? Like I've had conversations with some of my comrades who were incarcerated, and they had a very similar awakening. So like I say all that to say, like, the structure can be given in any way, shape, or form. I think God gave me rehab specifically the way he did. You know, God gives some people prisons. God gives some people, addiction. And through that sobriety, through that, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm grateful for the adversities that I've had, man. Like, it's led me to, one, have faith in myself, like in my ability to overcome hardship, bro. Because being in that space where, like, man, bro, I've never accomplished anything that feels this heavy. How am I can't even envision me. But now I feel like I've been through so much, man, boy, put me through some shit. We finna do it, boy. Let me knock on wood, because they always say, you know, you want to make God laugh, you tell him your plan. So I don't want to. He threw some haymakers at us this year, bro.
Going through all this adversity, not knowing what healthy love looked like, having this lack of self-love, how did you find that?
Man, I think my wife has a big part to do with that, man. She you know, she had to train me, bro. There was certain things that, you know, I felt, or that would just be so natural based on conditioning that I would feel weird. You know what I'm saying? I would say she trained. We trained each other. It was definitely a training process, but through conversation. It didn't look like don't do this, or it didn't look like an argument, but instead, like, this training process happened when we were friends, before we were in a relationship. But it would look like things like us being on the phone and us asking, why did you do this? How did you feel doing it? What was your purpose of doing it? You know what I'm saying? And because, like, we respected each other as friends and we rocked with each other as friends so heavy, it was just like, damn, bro, like, we were more willing to listen to the criticism and the question that came with it. You know what I'm saying? And of course, they were packaged very gracefully. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were packaging that shit graceful as hell for each other. But I think it you know, just a testament to being intentional.
What made you realize you were ready to take that step into marriage?
I think the kids. I also asked for their. I asked my parents-in-law for their blessing. That was pretty dope. And to hear how they felt about it, I think it gave me way more affirmation, bro. I was thinking about it for a few months, and I was like, man, maybe I'm doing it too soon. You know, it's 2 years. Is that too long? Is that too short? Is that not enough time? Like, maybe I got to, you know, I talked to the kids about it. I talked to the parents about it. And after that, I was like, man, it's time. Because I already felt some, you know, I felt some way about it already, you know. But I don't want to sound cliche, but when you know, bro. When you know. It's so different. I've been in a few different relationships, and I don't think I've ever considered or just even thought about the marriage aspect. And everyone that I was dating, they gave me big, like, girlfriend vibes. You know what I'm saying? This was your girlfriend. But even when me and my wife started dating, we didn't even call each other girlfriend, boyfriend. Like, it was, this is my life partner. So I don't know how it happened, how we started clicking doing that, but I just remember one day I was just like, this is not my girlfriend, this is my life partner.
What was your initial idea of what love was supposed to be?
I think before Tanya came into my life, my initial, like, understanding of love, man, bro, I would say, I don't even think I had an understanding of love. Love and care were very, they were damaged definitions of what those things were. Love looked like lust to me. I wouldn't say I defined love back then. I feel like if I did, I would have been more intentional in those relationships that I felt like I did love the person, you know? But because I had never defined it, it was whatever the action was. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't love. It was whatever this is. And it was toxic, and it was humiliating, and it was disrespectful, and it was just wasn't it, you know? And then when I met my wife, again, all those things got challenged.
How so? What would you define love to be now?
Love is understanding. Love is, I wouldn't just say sacrifice, but it's also like the provision of. Like, I'm not just sacrificing something, I'm providing it. Does that make sense? It's abundance, right? I feel like love is living in this space where you just constantly full. I think love is transparency. I think love is effort. It's so many different things, bro. It's family. It's being intentional. Love is so much, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe my wife, my family, they continue to teach me more and more. It's all those things that I said to say it's being present in every moment that you're grounded with that feeling. You know what I'm saying? This is me loving, is me being fully here, being where my feet are. You know? That's what my vital says. My assistant, she's the GOAT. Sister K says, be where your feet are.
Was there ever a point where love felt like a lost cause?
Absolutely. I think when me and my wife were just friends, I was telling her, bro, like, I think I'm just gonna just be a dater for the rest of my life. Like, just date women. You know what I'm saying? I got kids already. I got like, little did I know, we was over there cooking up already.
I feel like I'm not doing my job if I don't ask you how it all came together.
How me and Tanya came together?
Yeah, like at this point, the fact that you keep saying you guys were just friends, like that it just came together. I feel like I'm not doing my job. You know what I'm saying?
Me and Tanya were just friends. I had a community center in Melrose Park. And this is going to be like a crash course. So I'll make it as quick as possible. So I had a community center in Melrose Park. She had a community center in Pilsen. And when we did our first, I lied. She had a dance thing. We would come to these open dance sessions, and it was a lot of community already. I would bring my community. She would have her community there, and it would just be this whole thing. And people would be like, damn, bro, there's a lot of people here. This dude just brought hella people, and, you know, we your people. Who are all these people? We got interested in, like, the community aspect, so we started working together. We did the first Black and Brown Unity concert together, and that was epic, amazing. Brought some barbers out to cut hair for free groceries, had musicians play, we performed, had dancers out there. Like, it was an epic event, all outside. Even to a point where, like, it rained and we were just outside still. It was like stormed and everybody was still outside just in the rain. It was so fire, bro. But from there, us having such, like, similar communities that we were guiding, our community really just told us more than anything. And we became friends based off of that. And we would kind of, like, guide each other through certain challenges and or obstacles and or, like, projects that we were working on. And at the time she had a boyfriend. At the time I was dating. I was in the dating pool. You know, I was dating a few different people. And you know, as we locked in, our community got a bit more aggressive about, like, y'all are, like, for each other, bro. And yeah, things came to things, and we ended up getting together. And on top of that, like, transitions out of the relationships that we were in, and then getting together happened pretty natural after that. We went from friends to, like, really close associates, business partners, to, like, this is my right hand, to, okay, now this is my life partner. And it felt all like that whole entire experience, if that makes sense. It never felt like, now that we're not friends anymore, this changes. It felt like, the difference is I get to kiss you now.
Added on.
You get what I'm saying? It was an addition, not an alternative. Like, we were who we were for each other from the minute of introduction. The difference was we weren't romantic.
In what ways did she help repair your idea of what love is supposed to be?
I think she gave me more hope. You know, because originally, like I said, like, I was going to a space where I was about to be Alan the Gigolo, bro. Like, I was about to be out here. And I was grounded in that, bro. I was like, I don't even give a fuck anymore. Like, women are all the same. Like, I was in that space. But man, she definitely pulled me out of that shit, bro. I think I went from so quick. I went from a space of, like, I have to compromise, to a space that I don't have to change myself. I can upgrade myself. Like, that's a different conversation. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that I had to, like, really upgrade myself to be, but to change myself, I didn't have to do that. I didn't. I had to heal certain aspects. I had to upgrade certain aspects, but like I didn't have to change shit. She really showed me that, man.
And as we all do, we all have stuff to fix. It just takes time to realize what those pieces are, right? And I love the analogy that you use, right? It's always going to be easier to introduce somebody to a new version of you rather than help fix and help build what was broken with people that were old. So I appreciate you coming through, bro. I know it took a little longer than we were supposed to go. I know it took me a little longer to set up, man.
I enjoyed it, bro. This was dope. Even the time setting up, bro. I enjoy all of that. To be able to exchange energy with you, bro. This is dope.
Did you have anything else you wanted to say, bro?
Go stream POSTERBOY. All streaming platforms, y'all. I'm talking about all 14 tracks. I want to know your favorite track. I want to know where you listen to it on. All of that shit. Go stream that, man.
Make sure you guys go ahead, check out POSTERBOY. Make sure you go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. Sad Boys for real. Peace out.
This is Sad Boy Radio.